The buzzer screamed like a banshee in the dead of night, jolting me from sleep. Bzzzt. Bzzzt. As some shadowy figure punched in the wrong code for the third time that week. I bolted upright, heart pounding like a war drum, sweat slicking my back in the humid Florida air that smelled faintly of rain-soaked palm trees. That was it. The final straw. Our gated community security was a joke because of her, Karen Whitaker, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, who treated the gate code like her personal party invite list, handing it out to every Tom, Dick, and delivery guy who batted an eyelash. And now, strangers were wandering in, casing cars, leaving trash, turning our quiet haven into a freeway rest stop. I wasn't going to take it anymore. This was war. Cut to morning light filtering through my kitchen blinds, casting striped shadows on the granite counter where my coffee steamed, bitter and black like my mood. I paced the tiled floor, the cool surface grounding my bare feet as I replayed the night's chaos in my head. Sigh. Deep, ragged breath out. Why did she do it? Power trip. Or just plain entitlement. Karen lived 3 houses down, in that McMansion with the perfectly manicured lawn that screamed, "Look at me." She'd been HOA president for years, ruling with an iron fist wrapped in fake smiles and passive-aggressive newsletters. Community spirit, she'd call it. But it was bullshit. Last month, a sketchy van full of friends from her church group had parked in my driveway, blasting gospel music that rattled my windows. When I complained, she just tilted her head, that bleach blonde bob swaying like a pendulum, and cooed, "Oh, honey, lighten up. We're all family here." Family. Bull. I grabbed my phone, fingers trembling with rage, and dialed the HOA emergency line straight to her voicemail. Of course. This is Karen Whitaker, making our neighborhood shine. Leave a message. Beep. I hung up, slamming the phone down so hard it skittered across the counter. No more. I needed a plan. Something clever. Something that would hit her where it hurt her precious control. Flash forward to the HOA meeting that evening, held in the clubhouse that reeked of stale coffee and cheap air freshener. The kind that pretends to be lavender but just makes your nose itch. Folding chairs scraped against the linoleum as neighbors shuffled in, murmuring like extras in a tense drama. There she was, at the podium, pearls gleaming under the fluorescent lights, her voice dripping honeyed venom. "Good evening, everyone. Let's start with security concerns." I raised my hand, pulse thundering in my ears. "Karen, the gate code's been compromised. Strangers are getting in because someone's sharing it." Gasps rippled through the room, chairs creaking as people leaned forward. Her eyes narrowed, lips pursing into that signature smirk. Now, let's not point fingers. It's probably just kids playing pranks." But I knew. We all knew. Whispers had been circulating Karen giving the code to her realtor buddies, her yoga instructor, even that shady contractor she'd hired for her pool remodel. "Prove it," she snapped, her voice cracking like thunder, cheeks flushing red. I left the meeting fuming, the humid night air clinging to my skin like a bad memory. Home felt like a cage, the gate looming outside my window like a silent accusation. That's when the idea hit me like a lightning bolt in a storm. Change the code. But not just any code. Her phone number. Genius. Petty. Hell yes. But after years of her beast finding me for a non-compliant mailbox while her dog crapped on everyone's lawns, it felt like poetic justice. I logged into the HOA app. Admin access I'd swiped from a sympathetic board member. Fingers hovered over the keyboard. Heart racing. Click. Done. The new code, 555-1234, her digits, blasted to every resident via email. Emergency update. I typed. Send. The next day dawned with chaos. My phone buzzed nonstop texts from neighbors. WTF is this code? Karen's number. LOL. But then, the real show started. I peeked out my window, coffee in hand, as a delivery truck idled at the gate. The driver punched in the code, her number, and nothing. Gate stayed shut. He tried again. And again. Frustration built. His curses faint through the glass. Then, the genius part, people started calling her. thinking it was a glitch or some interactive BS. Her phone must have exploded like fireworks on the 4th. Cut to Karen's meltdown. I heard it before I saw a screech of tires on asphalt. Her SUV slamming to a stop in my driveway. Door flew open. Heels clicking like gunshots on the pavement. You did this. She bellowed. Face twisted in fury. Veins bulging in her neck. The air smelled of her overpowering perfume. Floral and aggressive. Mixing with the salty tang of her sweat. Neighbors poked heads out. Curtains twitching like nosy ghosts. Karen, calm down, I said, stepping onto my porch. Voice steady but insides churning like a storm-tossed sea. Sigh. She waved her phone. Screen lit with missed calls hundreds. The notification chimed ding-donging like a mad doorbell. My phone's been ringing off the hook. Strangers yelling about the gate. You changed it to my number. That's harassment. Harassment. Pot. Meat kettle. You shared the code first. I shot back. Voice rising. Heat flushing my cheeks. Endangering us all. She lunged forward. Finger jabbing like a dagger. I'll sue you. HOA rules prohibit tampering. But her eyes darted. Uncertainty flickering like a faulty bulb. That's when the unexpected twist walked an old Mr. Jenkins from down the street. The quiet widower who'd lost his wife last year. He'd been lurking in his yard. Rake in hand. Leaves crunching underfoot. Hold on there. Karen. He grumbled. Voice gravelly from years of cigars. The scent of tobacco lingering on his flannel shirt. I've got proof. He pulled out his phone. Shaky hands swiping to a video grainy but clear. Karen at the gate last week. Mouthing the code to a group of outsiders. Laughter echoing tinny through the speaker. Caught it on my ring cam. Tired of your nonsense. The air thickened. Tension crackling like static before rain. Karen's face drained of color. Lips trembling. That's private. She stammered. But the damage was done. Whispers turned to murmurs. Then outright accusations. She's been doing this for months. Someone yelled. My bike got stolen last week. Emotion swung wild me, anger melting into grim satisfaction. A deep exhale releasing the knot in my chest. But there was pity too. A fleeting pang as her shoulders slumped. The mighty Karen crumbling like a sandcastle at high tide. Words spread like wildfire through the neighborhood chat screenshots of her flooded voicemail. Voicemails piling up. Hey, is this the gate code? Open up. Laughter mixed with outrage. Karen went radio silent. Her house dark that night. No lights in the windows. Just the faint hum of AC units and distant traffic. But peace. Short-lived. 2 days later, a certified letter slapped into my mailbox. The envelope crisp and official. Smelling faintly of ink and bureaucracy. Summons to small claims court. For emotional distress and property interference. It read. My stomach dropped. A cold wave crashing over me. Sigh. Was this worth it? Doubt crept in. Shadows lengthening as I sat at my kitchen table. The clock ticking like a countdown. Court day arrived like a showdown in an old western humid courthouse air thick with the scent of polished wood and nervous sweat. I adjusted my tie. Palms slick. As we filed into the stuffy room. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like angry bees. Karen sat across. Prim in her pantsuit. But her eyes were red-rimmed. Makeup cracking like dry earth. The judge. A no-nonsense woman with steel-gray hair. Banged the gavel thunk. Echoing through the silence. Proceed. Testimonies flew like bullets. Karen first. Voice quivering with feigned hurt. He humiliated me. My phone rang constantly, strangers cursing. Threats even. She dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. Sniffles punctuating her words. The room felt smaller. Air heavier. Then my turn. Your Honor. She compromised our security first. I presented emails. The video from Mr. Jenkins, now a star witness. Shuffling to the stand with a cough that rattled like loose gravel. Saw it with my own eyes. He rasped. The microphone amplifying his wheeze. Gasps from the gallery. Chairs shifting uneasily. But the real bombshell. The subplot deepened when another neighbor. Maria, the single mom I'd barely spoken, tossed up unexpectedly. I have more. She said. voice steady but laced with old pain, the faint scent of baby powder on her clothes. Turns out, Karen had shared the code to Maria's ex-husband, an abusive creep who'd shown up unannounced, banging on her door in the rain, thunder booming as her kids cried inside. She knew he was dangerous, Maria whispered, tears glistening, the courtroom falling pin-drop silent. Emotions surged, outrage boiling in my veins. A collective inhale from the crowd. Karen's facade shattered. She buried her face in her hands, a muffled sob escaping. The judge leaned forward, glasses perched on her nose. Ms. Whitaker, your actions endangered this community. Sharing secure codes is a breach of trust and law. Verdict, me. Slap on the wrist. A warning for the code change. Karen, fine $5,000 for negligence. Ordered to step down from HOA. The gavel fell crack. Like Justice's thunderclap. She stormed out, heels echoing down the hall, but not before shooting me a glare that could melt steel. Outside, rain pattered on the steps, cool droplets mixing with my relieved exhale. Mr. Jenkins clapped my shoulder. Maria nodded with a small smile, unexpected allies in this mess. As I drove home, the gate code reset to something secure. The neighborhood felt lighter, the air fresher with the scent of wet earth. Karen's house went up for sale a week later. Her empire toppled. It wasn't just revenge. It was a stand. A reminder that entitlement crumbles when good folks unite. Sigh of contentment. In the end, justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet click of a gate locking out the chaos, letting peace flood in. And damn, it felt good.